Dub Nation. After the final buzzer. This is where you come for instant post-game reaction.
Oh, hell yeah.
This is Dub's OT.
Can't wait.
With John Dickinson.
Hey, JD, what you up to, sugar? Long time no talk to.
On KNBR 104.5 and 680. Streaming live at knbr.com and on the KNBR app.
Yes. Welcome in. Happy Sunday, everyone. Football Sunday, Championship Sunday in the NFL. But we are here. We are live. And it is Dubs OT with JD, John Dickinson, the YouTube-only edition here on this Sunday. Kyle Haar is in the Daly City studios, it looks like here. Kyle, shifting some things around. What's going on, Kyle?
What's going on? Yeah, nothing much. Good to be here. Good to talk to you. Good to see the chat.
And the Warriors win somehow.
Unbelievable.
Somehow, some way. 111-85, the final. Warriors win, no drama. They get their first win in the post Jimmy Butler injury era. And I think, every win and look, we should start here by just saying, obviously we didn't anticipate being on right now during the Rams and Seahawks game. And so we should just welcome everybody in and obviously acknowledge the fact that this game got postponed from yesterday due to the ICE shooting in Minneapolis. And it just obviously a tough time there and just an awful scene and situation there with the man Alex Preddy being killed by the ICE agents there in Minneapolis. So obviously, as difficult a time as it is in Minneapolis, that is what led us to be, bumped from yesterday to today. So we're here. Obviously, the right move by the NBA and the Warriors and the Timberwolves to kick that game at least a day out to give everybody an opportunity to try to at least work through the thoughts and just all the difficult times and everything that's going on in the country. So just to acknowledge that right off the top, it's just, tough deal yesterday. And honestly, from somebody, Kyle, just to spend about 30 seconds on this, we talk about the games and everything, but it would have been pretty difficult to even do a show, I think, yesterday, let alone have these guys who are in Minneapolis where this went down, have to play an NBA game basically in the hour, hours after that went down. So just want to acknowledge that. Obviously, it changed everything up. We're here for you, but just a tough thing. And so we'll kind of move on. There's no segue for that. It doesn't change anything. Obviously, the words don't. There needs to be much greater, change as far as like what's going on in the country and all that. And but just want to acknowledge, obviously, why everything got shifted around here and shuffled and rightfully so.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely a sad and scary time, and just thoughts and prayers to the city of Minneapolis and to Alex's family as well.
Totally. No, 100%. So that being said, the game did go on today, this afternoon. And so we're here for you, YouTube only, while everybody's watching football. So Seahawks and Rams, headed to halftime? Have they reached halftime? I hadn't been looking at the screen here as closely.
Yeah, halftime right now. Rams up 13-10.
So we did get to halftime with the Rams up 13-10. Warriors get the win. Again, no easy way to transition back into what we do, but it is what we do here on Dubs OT. Warriors first win post Jimmy Butler, and I do think one thing, and I don't know what the Timberwolves are prone to having some clunkers in some of these afternoon games throughout the Chris Finch era. Obviously, the emotion and everything that's going on in Minneapolis could very well have played a role in it. But the Timberwolves they've had there are a lot of games where if you watch the NBA and those who have watched and listened to Dubs OT know that I said it a lot, like in the Chris Finch era, that the Sunday afternoon Timberwolves, like bad first quarter at home, happens a lot. And so the Warriors able to take advantage of that. I think as much as the Warriors going out and playing well, and we'll give the Warriors credit for their defense in particular and all of the turnovers that they were able to force, the Timberwolves just flat out didn't have it. And there are times where if you've watched them the last 3-4 years, they do just flat out not have it. And they'll let some pretty bad teams come in to Target Center and either hang with them, if not beat them. And I go back even a couple of years ago, I think the Warriors were in a bad way, shorthanded, and went in there and won. Remember their 2 wins a season ago were, remember when they went through the 15-3 and then they were 3-15? Well, 2 of the wins in the 3-15 were in Minneapolis. And when the Warriors were at their absolute worst. And so the Timberwolves do have a tendency to play down to opponents. And I think, maybe in conjunction with everything that's going on in the city, they kind of looked at the Warriors coming in and having to play this game as, well, we can show up and win this game because the Warriors are done. They're cooked. They're in a bad way. They don't have Jimmy. They have Steph. They've, I think at times this week we've seen the Warriors look like they are really reeling with trying to deal with the aftermath of not having Jimmy and everything that leads to just the uncertainty over the next couple of weeks. But all in all, it winds up being a really, really nice win for the Warriors. They jumped out to a 14-2 lead, Kyle, in the first 4 minutes. They were up 24-19 after one. They were basically doing everything but hit shots in the first quarter, but the defense was on point. You start to look around at the box score, and it was just a quality game from the bench, 42-13. And, give the Warriors credit. For whatever reason, Minnesota didn't have it in this game, but the Warriors, this is really now 2 of 3 games where the Warriors have been competitive, Kyle, since the Jimmy Butler injury. They were competitive in Dallas. Dallas pulls away in that game. And, I think the importance of this win for Golden State is the fact that it continues to push, at least it should continue to push the front office toward looking to try to do something to at least help this team finish the season with some semblance of respectability in terms of, whether it's get in the play-in tournament or get to 6 or whatever it is. And also look to set themselves up for next year. I do think there's a debt that the front office owes to a team that shows fight over the course of now until the trade deadline. And look, the Warriors may not win much during that time, to be perfectly honest, but every win that they do get, and it's why it's worth bringing up as the Warriors win this one, is one that I think should be a message to the front office to not just quit and give up. Oh, by the way, Jonathan Kuminga didn't play in this game, and he was not missed. And so that's another, again, one of these indicators toward just move him. Just move him. No, nothing against him. Again, we're not relitigating his entire career or whatever, but I feel like this team is much more connected when he's just not a part of it at this point. And so look to move him for somebody who can be a part of it. Look to move him for a bigger deal, but freaking move him and allow this team that kind of got on the roll before the Jimmy Butler injury to have something to fight for.
Yeah, I think well, one, it's on the players right now JJ, back to what you were saying, to show something to the front office. Like if they went in and I'm just counting the games here. In these 6 games up until the trade deadline and go 0-6, well then the front office may look at that and be like, well, we're not going to make a move now that we're back below 500. So I think it was important to get a solid win against a team who is right ahead of you in the standings, but 2, to show the front office that there is still some fight and the season isn't worth just tanking for. And yeah,
No, it has to be a scenario where they look to be able to try to do something. By the way, Kyle, you lied to me. We weren't quite at halftime.
I honestly, I saw the commercial break. I was like, oh, it must be halftime. But
I was like,
no,
Kyle,
Seahawks are driving.
We're not at halftime. The Seahawks
it's not even going to be 13
just scored. Seahawks just scored with Darnold finding Jackson Smith and Jigba in the end zone to go ahead of the Rams. So back and forth affair, wouldn't you know, as these two teams had in the two meetings where the Rams won by 2 and then Seattle won by a single point in overtime from back in December. But we are with you here, Dubs OT, with JD on the Sports Leader. We're here for the people today, the best YouTube chat in sports. And so feel free to weigh in. We're going to go about an hour. Again, we know what the situation is with respect to the timing of this show being on right in the midst of the NFC Championship game. So we'll do it. We'll go for about an hour. We'll talk about the game. We'll talk about some of the other stuff. Not too many rumors within the last 24 hours, although there was something that was said on the KNBR airwaves by the great Marcus Thompson that I think is something that probably should be a topic tomorrow. And we'll get into it in more depth even tomorrow as the Warriors have the back-to-back in the second game against the Timberwolves. But just kind of looking through everything here as the Warriors get their first win post Jimmy Butler injury, 111-85. Again, the final 26-21 now are the Warriors with 35 games to go. They will play in Minnesota tomorrow. They'll play in Utah, and then they come back home for a couple of games before they will go back out on the road. And then again, we're getting closer to the trade deadline. They go back out on the road on the day of the trade deadline to play in Phoenix and against the Lakers. But yeah, some thoughts on this one. I mean, the defense on point, Warriors forcing turnovers, the bench production. Steph didn't have a great first half, but came along in the second half. They got to sit Steph down for the final, 7.5 minutes of this one, basically being up by 20 plus for a majority, if not the entire fourth quarter, which is something that you just don't see. But yeah, 8 steals. They were just Minnesota out of whack. Another takeaway, D'Anthony Melton has been really impactful. He didn't shoot it well tonight, but he really, I thought in the first half, especially, what was terrific in terms of just the ability to put the head down and drive and look to play make a little bit. He ended up with a couple of turnovers as the game went on, but we're seeing, I think, throughout January, this is more of a January point than a today specific point, Kyle, but it's just how good D'Anthony Melton really has been. And honestly, I made the note, like, the Warriors are going to have to figure out a way to keep him because as much as like the stealing of the ceiling for this team rather for this season is non-existent in terms of the ability to win a title and all that as they're currently constituted. No matter what you think of next year's team and what level they can get to, D'Anthony Melton is somebody you want to have a part of that. Like, can you imagine a scenario where whatever this team winds up, whatever they try to do in terms of big picture, you're kind of counting on D'Anthony Melton to be around. And then you look at the math of it, and D'Anthony Melton, I think, is somebody that, and Gene putting it out there, would what would it take financially to keep Melton? I think they have to, and I put this out on social media, I think to keep him, they're going to have to get under the tax to a point where they open up the non-taxpayer mid-level exception. And the non-taxpayer mid-level exception, it starts, I think, around $14 million per year. And then it goes up, 14, 17, 20, in that range. And you can do it for 4 years. So it's around $4 and $70 million, $75 million. The exact number unknown until the cap number is set, which doesn't happen until June. But they have to be able to offer that, I feel like, to him in an attempt to get him to stay. So there are, some machinations that are going to have to be delved into as the Warriors look to make the big picture moves and then make the end. It just kind of struck me, because the Warriors, I think, have sort of been working under the impression that you're probably not going to be able to keep Melton. And now it's like, damn, if this season is cooked as far as winning a championship, you really want to be able to have to, you want to be able to have to find a way to be able to keep DeAnthony Melton.
I keep coming back to like when the Warriors had Dante DiVincenzo. Like those two to me are so similar. And the fact that now DeAnthony Melton, it used to be Jimmy Butler was leading that second group once Steph Curry sits. And now it's like DeAnthony Melton is the leader of that second group instead of Jimmy Butler, which shows one, like how good DeAnthony Melton is, but then two, it's like, damn, our second group is kind of pathetic now without Jimmy Butler.
Right. No question. And so it just, they're trying to use him the best they can to lead that group, which I think, good luck. I think, at times it'll work out. At times it won't. But I mean, DeAnthony Melton was one of the big, just overarching themes for me. Massive third quarter for the Warriors as well in this game. They were only up one as well as they played in the first half. And it felt at halftime. I don't know how you felt at halftime, Kyle, but I felt at halftime after the Warriors led by 10 early in the second quarter and were up by 11 late in the third quarter. The Timberwolves ended up, despite 16 turnovers, Warriors only had 5. They had 16 in the first half. Warriors only had 5. The Warriors shot 33%. They were 8 for 31 from 3. So the Warriors started making threes in the second half, which was something that changed the game. But the Timberwolves, pretty low level effort from them. They're down 11 late in the half. They go on a 10-0 run at the end of the half. They cut the Warriors lead from 11 down to 1. It's 47-46 at halftime. And I'm thinking, damn, Minnesota had 16 turnovers and the Warriors couldn't hit a shot. They should be up double digits. They're up 1. Like I'm going to be honest. I thought the Warriors were cooked. I was like, well, this is another one of these games that's going to wind up being a nice effort. But they're not going to get a win because the Timberwolves are going to wake up in the second half and put it to the Warriors a little bit, much more focused effort, and just kind of put the game away and end up with kind of a ho-hum, bullshit, 7 to 10 point win. But then the Warriors come out and they jump the Timberwolves in the third quarter. A lot of that was Brandon Podziemski. He had his own little mini run, and Podziemski was good in this game, pushed it up to 11, pushed it up to 16. The Warriors are up 24. And so they wind up 38-17 in the third quarter. So from a 1-point game, it goes to a 22-point lead, 38-17. And the Warriors were up with their largest lead there before Minnesota got the final bucket of the third quarter. And that basically ended it. At that point, you're thinking, all right, this is going to take a catastrophic collapse, which we've seen the Warriors have some catastrophic collapses. It's not as if the game was over, but the ability to come out and reestablish themselves in the third quarter was another key that I wrote down, because I thought they pissed away an opportunity to really win the game based on the fact that they were only up 1 at halftime. But again, Podziemski, among others, Steph came along, 5 for 11. They made 5 threes in the third quarter at a little under 50% clip after the 8 for 31 in the first half. So the shooting kind of leveled out, and the Timberwolves, for whatever reason, were just not interested in playing a quality game today. And when a team does that, even a good team, it's the NBA, and the Warriors' spirit, I think, was in the right place today in terms of coming out and playing and competing. And when that happens, you should be able to get a win. We've seen teams do this against the Warriors a bunch of different times. So to have it this is one of those that it feels like a little bit of a flip where another team kind of played down to their level. They were playing well. They were playing confidently, and they wind up earning themselves a pretty comfortable win to where I don't even have any notes in the fourth quarter. I'm looking at my notes.
Yeah.
My notes in the fourth quarter were largest lead 95-70. And then I basically stopped taking notes. It ended up, the largest lead ended up being the way the game ended, 111-85, a 26-point margin. But nice effort for the Dubs in this one. And now we'll see. I mean, they got Steph out of there with 7 minutes to go. You know, the Timberwolves lost 5 in a row, by the way, now. So we'll see, the quick turnaround. Can the Warriors get on them again tomorrow before getting out of town and heading to Utah? We shall see. But they also, maybe they rest tomorrow because Melton obviously and Horford are not going to play. Maybe they give others a night off and they just go try to get the Utah game. We'll see. I definitely think that's an option for the Dubs moving forward here. As much as I've said, hey, you can't give away any games. Excuse me, but you also need to make sure right now that you have enough to finish strong. I think the limited minutes, and Curry only played 28. Like I'd play him tomorrow. Draymond only played 23. I'd play him tomorrow. But you're not going to have Horford. You're not going to have Melton, which it sucks. But that's the situation the Warriors are in. And Horford in the starting lineup was also a lineup change that worked for the Warriors in this game, and one they've been reluctant to go to because of the minutes limit for Horford. But they only want to play him 20 to 23. But having another veteran stabilizer out there, I think is probably beneficial if they are going to go the big route in the starting lineup, or the bigger route, which they did. They moved Draymond back to the 4.
I mean, I like that lineup, especially today with Minnesota going double big with Gobert and Randall. But I think Horford, has been playing better than Post as of late, and is a better rebounder and is a better shot blocker. And Post, and if Post isn't shooting 40% from 3, I don't think he's giving you the same impact as he would be if he were. Whereas Horford, he's starting to hit shots now too, where Horford can give you a greater impact when you're lacking size and physicality against other teams.
Yeah, I think Horford, he's got to make shots, and we've discussed it a ton, and he hit even a 2 of 5. Like just hit 2 of 5. I mean, that's obviously 40%, but it's just, there's just been so many 0 for 6s and 0 for 5s and 0 for 3s. And there's just been too many. Like if he has 10 and 5 in 23 minutes and hits a couple of 3s and keeps everything else moving, if those are the games where he's been a net positive. The games where he's been a negative have been the games where he can't make a shot he can't make a shot at all. And you look up and he's got 2 at the end, or he's got 0, and a couple of free throw. And so, but his impact in terms of doing everything else and being a stabilizing force, I think is an important one to note, especially when the Warriors are looking for that, right? Like that's like Al Horford at 40 or 39, going to be 40 in June. Al Horford at 40 is not making up for Jimmy Butler by any stretch, but you need a little bit of what he provides to try to make up for, Melton makes up for a little bit of Jimmy. Horford makes up for a little bit of Jimmy. Now, look, you still need a dude, and not having a clear-cut number 2 is something that's going to hurt this team in a major, major way. But at the same time, right now it's about, triage as far as trying to be able to figure out a way to remain competitive here until the team can go out and get some help. But I'm sorry, I do think, and I don't know what, I don't want to belabor this, but I do think the win, and I'm not putting this on him, but I think the win without Kuminga being a part of it is a tell again to the front office that it's like, just move them. Just move them. Whatever, because I think this thing was starting to get down the road of, oh my God, they need him and they need his points and you might as well keep him and you wait till it's like, no. Like it ditch any thought of that now and get him out. Like get him out, and because he really is a non-factor for this team. Like on a night when they play their best basketball in terms of winning, he's not a part of it. And it's just a fact. And it's been a fact for 3-4 years almost now, going back to 22, 23, 23, 24, 24, 25 this year. Like, just I think the little things matter right now. Like the little things, the margins matter right now for this team. And again, that being said, we all know they're not winning a title this year. Like, and there aren't moves to be made to get them to a title, but just try to get a little bit better and maybe save the big move for the offseason. If it's not something that's right there, obviously in front of you to be done here in the next 11 days. But I think it is addition by subtraction. I think it's addition by subtraction at this point. And you're taking somebody that doesn't fit in your winning formula and you're moving him for somebody that might fit into your winning formula when you're down a guy or multiple guys already.
I mean, I also think your record is still good enough going up until the trade deadline to where you don't need to just like hone it in and experiment with Kuminga and see if he can provide you a spark when we've kind of seen that script for the last 4 years too.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it for a while. This week, I just think the day-to-day does kind of matter, and I don't have a good answer on like what direction. It's like I said the other night, like or maybe it was yesterday, even on Just Dubs. Like I have a really hard time getting, like, he was going to be gone had Jimmy Butler not gotten hurt, but I also think if he starts playing, which he had been before he got hurt, and they do well in the time that he starts playing, it almost feels like at that point there'd be more of a thought to just keeping him, right? Keep him, let him build the value back up. It's not going to be that much different between having him around versus somebody you trade for, because it clicks, it works. It's almost as if either them winning with him not being a part of it or them not winning with him being a part of it was going to have to be the final indicator to not mess around. And so I think in that vein, it's kind of 3 for 3, right? I mean, I don't know. It does feel like that, but it's a matter of, again, it's best for him also. Like, that's the other part of this. Like, I don't want to make it off like, oh, JD, you're blaming Jonathan Kuminga, blah, blah, blah. No, I'm not. It's like, he doesn't want to be here either. So,
well, yeah, I mean, they also got lucky with all it was when Kuminga got hurt was that it was a bone bruise on his knee, and instead of something greater, and you don't want to throw him out there and then have it become something worse.
No, you definitely don't. We are live, Dubs OT with JD on YouTube. I was typing up a little tweet here in the midst of that. Let's get some Kyle's clicks here in the YouTube chat. Again, we've been going almost a half hour. We're going to go about 60 minutes straight up, so a little shorter than usual. I want to give everybody an opportunity to really lock in and watch the second half of the Seattle Rams game as the third quarter is about to start here. So we'll take you into the third quarter a little bit of that game. And also, maybe we can have some running commentary on the football game too, if some things happen, but we'll keep it going for about another half hour. And then again, we'll be back tomorrow, Dubs OT, after the second game against Minnesota. And we'll kind of reset some of the things we're talking about today, but we're here for the people, Kyle. We're here for the people, as always. Oh, yeah. Kyle in the Daly City studios, JD in the home studio. I may or may not be having a brew. I think I'm having a brew. I'm having a brew.
Is it a Kolsch?
I'm having a brew. It's not a Kolsch, but I am having a brew. I'm not going to lie. I'm having one. comfortably in the home studio. I am having one here. It's what's in JD's cup. No, I kid. All right, let's get some clicks. Let's get some Kyle's clicks. John Jay, how could Trey Murphy be a contributor to winning when his current team has like 10 wins? Well, he's their best player right now. Look, Trey Murphy would be awesome. Bring him in, plug him in. Again, you're talking about playing next to Steph Curry in a Steve Kerr system. He can contribute to winning. Like he absolutely, he would walk with Jimmy Butler out. Trey Murphy would, without a doubt, be the Warriors' second best player immediately. And here's the thing. He would help this team in the short term. I think solidify themselves as a play-in team. I'm not going to go as far as to say he would allow for the Warriors to get to 6, although I don't think they'd be dead in 6. I think they'd have to have a lot of things go right with health and having the fit work as well as the fit worked, let's say, last year with Jimmy. But Trey Murphy is absolutely the kind of guy that would come in and help this team in the short term and also plug into he can plug into whether you keep Jimmy and account for Jimmy to come back in January or December, or if you look to make the big move in the offseason. So, if you look to try to make the honest move in the offseason, and then that's where you would move Jimmy for. Now, the only issue with that, in fairness, is you're going to have to give up picks to get Trey Murphy. So if you give up picks to get Trey Murphy, are you less apt to look to give up picks to get Giannis? To hell with it. If you could get Trey Murphy and Giannis, it's worth giving up every pick you possibly can. That's just reality as far as I'm concerned. But no, Trey Murphy's a good player. He's a good player that's, again, he's getting an opportunity to grow his game. And I've been watching Trey Murphy more of late, and I've been bringing up his numbers a lot, Kyle, on Dubs OT and on Just Dubs. He is playing much more. He was almost a straight 3-and-D, like catch and shoot 3-and-D. He is doing a ton more off the dribble, trying to get to the basket, pull up jumpers. Like, he's expanding his game. And how is he able to grow and expand his game? Because the Pelicans suck. Like, so he's able to get in his bag a little bit and grow his game, which is obviously, again, not to totally bring it back to Kuminga, but that's something that Kuminga has been unable to do because he's been on a team that has been focused on winning. The Pelicans aren't, so he's getting in his bag. But nobody's saying Trey Murphy's a winning player as a 1. He's their best freaking player. So you bring him in, make him the second best player, then eventually make him the third best player, because that's the goal. The goal is not to have him be the second best player. He would walk in on the team as the second best player. The goal would be to make him the third best player, because either Jimmy's going to come back or you're going to trade Jimmy in the offseason. I know they're not trading Jimmy now, or at least that's the messaging that they want to get out there, is they're not trading Jimmy now. But I'd take Trey Murphy in a heartbeat. I'd give up multiple picks to do it in a heartbeat.
What would you say would be your cap on how many picks you would give up? 3?
3.
I think that's fair.
I'd give up. I would give up 3. I would. And again, Mike Dunleavy said, "Hey, we're not giving up picks for somebody unless that player's going to be here and playing at a high level." Here's the thing: Trey Murphy III is 25. He's 25. He's gonna. I mean, so you're talking about somebody that, and he's signed, by the way. Like he is signed for the next 4 years, I believe. I mean, looking at the Pelicans. Let me look at the Pelicans' salaries here. We'll get to some more chats. Pelicans' salaries are, he signed this year plus 3 more, 27, 29, 31. So if you're talking about giving up, let's say 26, 28, you can figure out a way to make it three picks in the time frame that he would be under contract with the Warriors. I don't think there's much doubt about it on that front. All right, let's keep it rolling. A lot to get to. Mr. E Painter. Last thing I'll say is the Warriors have a history of trading for players. The Warriors have a history of trading for players for traded away. What is that?
Have a history of trading for players that they traded away.
Oh, that they traded away. Got it. My pick is Dante, but I really want Steph to throw his weight and find a way to get Giannis. I mean, that was the other thing, and I don't know if you have the clip. I may have sent you the wrong clip, but the Marcus Thompson clip.
Yeah.
Did I send you the? I couldn't remember.
No, I think that was the right clip.
I mean, here's the gist of it.
But it wasn't as like concrete as the front office has rejected Steph, even though Steph has.
It was basically Marcus saying we don't need to play it right now. We can try to find it for tomorrow. But it was the front office has pushed back on trades that Steph has wanted that would have brought in other stars. And again, that was on our air on KNBR on Dirty Work. And it was almost as if to say, hey, it's, Steph can go in, but they don't always necessarily listen to Steph. And so I think Steph has to be, Seattle puts another one on the board off of
a gift.
Wow. Another. Yeah.
A muffed punt.
Off of the punt. Yeah. The muffed punt. And man, Seattle 23-13. They're tough. They have never lost.
Oh, what is that?
Never lost up there as the 1 seed. They have gone to the Super Bowl every time they've been the 1 seed in the history of that stadium. So yeah, the Rams are up against it. And man, you want to talk about a team that special teams have absolutely destroyed them this year. It's been the Rams basically in every game. The special teams have been a big part of what's done them in every game that they've lost and even a game or two that they've found a way to win. So yeah, the question is like if you've watched Steph this week, and I mean, Steph looks really freaking demoralized this week. Today, even there was a shot on the bench, and I don't know if he's dealing with this knee thing. He had a knee injury pop up where it looked like maybe he wasn't going to play in the game today. But Steph he looks really demoralized. So I think Steph, I don't know, man. Like I think he is as much. I don't know that it necessarily is publicly going to be leaked out, but I gotta think Steph is going to put as much pressure on the front office as possible to try to get them to do something to help this team moving forward. I mean, he just looks so dejected that, whether it was at the podium Monday or not going to the podium Tuesday, or even when just shots of him on the bench as they're getting smoked by Toronto, as they're getting beat in the fourth quarter by Dallas of all teams. Like, it just, I don't know. Steph, I just feel like Steph is at a point where he's looked almost, even today,
he went to the locker room when, they were blowing him out. And I mean, I don't want to read too much into it. Went to the locker room with like 4 minutes left, signed autographs, went to the locker room before the game ended. He was like, okay, I'm done here.
Yeah. I mean, it just seems like he's in a bad place right now. And how do you get him back to a good place? Well, you have to look to continue to have something to fight for and not just say, hey, yeah, we're going to keep everything the same. And we believe in this team. We're going to win, 38 games and try to make a trade in the offseason. No cap. Steph knows Lacob isn't doing anything at the deadline. He knows before we do, of course. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's going to be a push, no cap. And I know you brought up the Marcus Thompson comments from Dirty Work. Just because he hasn't been listened to before doesn't mean he won't be necessarily listened to again. This thing and the point in bringing up the way Steph has looked and how demoralized he's looked is it's the fact that I don't think Steph has taken it completely lightly. Like, hey, this is just the way it's going to be, and we're screwed, and it's just, you're going to have to ride this thing out for the rest of the season. Like, I don't know. To me, there's much more. I think there's more internal fight about what to do than people think. Like it in terms of a healthy debate and everybody's opinion being heard. Like I don't think Steph is just never. Like I don't think Steph is the dude that's like never saying, "Hey, let's do this or do that." I think it gets mischaracterized that Steph is not either making suggestions or fighting for what he believes. And I think that's the thing that, you hear Marcus and it's like, well, no, he has been, and he doesn't always get listened to. And, it's been out there of late, some of the draft stuff that everybody's so up in arms about with, Kerr wanted Wagner, maybe Kerr wanted Halliburton over Wiseman. Kerr wanted Wagner for sure over Kuminga. He wasn't listened to. And it leads to all these questions about ownership. So we'll see what ultimately happens. But I don't think that the Warriors are going to go quietly without a ton of, I would say, heated internal dialogue over the next week and a half, because the Warriors are a franchise that they do like to collectively think among the minds that they have. And that's the one thing, as critical of Joe Lacob as I've been, Kyle, for, undermining the Kuminga situation and maybe being a little too tied to some of the younger players that he's like, he is willing to listen to other voices. And I think, there are owners in the league that want to be as involved as Joe Lacob who they would have fired Kerr. Right? Like, oh, you're effing up our pick, my pick that I think is a future star. You're fired. And we're going to have some clown come in and coach Kuminga and like it hasn't ever really gotten to that far. Right? Like the equivalent is like, if it was Vivek, Doug Christie would be coaching the Warriors with, and playing Jonathan Kuminga a lot. You'd find the worst coach you could find, and he'd do it the way you think it should be done. Like there is a level of there is a level of professionalism, even if you disagree with some of the evaluation that exists within the Warriors front office that doesn't exist in other front offices, right? There is a patience. Like I think Joe, and I said this on Just Dubs, like Joe is a fan at heart, right? He's a fan who's the owner. Obviously, he's got input. He's the owner. But I also think he is thoughtful enough to where he doesn't just do the stupid thing out of a fit of rage, or like he's able to not make the catastrophic mistake because he does take a deep breath and try to look at everything from all sides, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, I also think they have a lot of smart people in the front office,
but fewer than they used to.
Yeah, I mean, even if you take a look at their coaching staff, the way that has been built out, it's always other teams want to poach from the Warriors coaching staff, right?
No doubt, no question. So I don't agree with you necessarily. No cap. I don't think it's Steph. I just think Steph knows the history and knows how difficult it might be to get the kind of change that's going to be necessary. San Jose Jazz fan 8. Yeah, but if Draymond is in the meeting, can Steph get a word in edgewise? Yes, I think he can. Although it is funny to kind of think about that. Draymond would get ejected from that meeting. Well, yeah, Draymond is on record, right? He wanted Kuminga and he wanted Wiseman, right? Hasn't he said that in the last couple weeks, or at least Kuminga, maybe not Wiseman, but at least Kuminga. He's a Kuminga guy. At least going back to 2021. All right, let's keep it rolling here. We're going to go about another 15, 16 minutes. Dubs OT with JD. We need to throw away tomorrow's game and rest the veterans. Well, Horford and Melton aren't playing, so how far do you want to take it? I know I'm usually on record saying I hate that. You get the win in hand. It actually kind of makes sense to do it tomorrow, but there's a part of me that thinks, like, let's get greedy. Like, the Timberwolves have lost 5 in a row. You played really well against them today. Like, try to get another one. Because the reality is there isn't going to be any easy game for the Warriors moving. Like, there isn't going to be they could They could win
Utah,
they could win tomorrow, lose by 20 in Utah. Like it just like you come home, you're playing Detroit. Like there aren't too many games where I look at the Warriors between now and the end of the year and they're going to be favored with the roster they have right now. And so anytime you have a little window to maybe get a win, I think you should probably try to take it. But if the Warriors did look to do that tomorrow, I would understand it. They went in on today, which I thought was interesting. And I think it was the right call because the Timberwolves do have a history of laying an egg in some of these early afternoon games from time to time. And the Warriors have a history of coming in when you wouldn't think that they'd have a shot and winning some games in Minnesota. So, all right, let's roll through here. Draymond with 23 minutes is exactly what he should be getting routinely. Yeah, I think Draymond's more of a 25-minute a game player. But again, you can't just say that that's what it's going to be because you have to have other players that are playing better. And it's like the old four-guard. It's like the old four-guard lineup thing. Warriors played a lot of four-guard lineups today. A lot of four-guard lineups. And the Timberwolves have the ability to go big and hurt you when you do that. The Warriors can't not play four-guard lineups because they don't have enough good wings and bigs. Like they don't have enough good. So they're going to have to play. Like GP2 was playing a lot of four today. Like, GP2 was playing a lot of four today. I'm looking at Guy Santos was playing a lot of four today. I'm just looking at my lineup sheet. At one point, they had Melton. Here's some of the lineups the Warriors played today. And by the way, nobody's complaining for shit today because they were up comfortably. But they at one point they played Buddy, Richard, Melton, Guy, and Post. So that's a 3-guard lineup. At one point they played. Buddy, Melton, Richard, Peyton. At one point, so it just like there were 4-guard lineups, and there were lineups where Peyton was basically the start of the second quarter. Curry, Richard, Moody, Peyton. There you go. Curry, Richard, Moody, Peyton. That's a 4-guard lineup with Draymond at center. Can't do that. Can't ever do that ever. Well, they did it today against a big. Like they don't have a. Almost dropped the F-bomb there, which I don't like to do even on the stream only. But they don't really have a choice. But yes, I agree. The 23 minutes is about that. That's about right. That's about right. All right, let's keep it rolling here for another. I don't know. 12 minutes or so. I like Al in the starting lineup. Finally, somebody who could guard Randall. Draymond guarded Randall a lot as well in the game. And again, in a perfect world, I think in a perfect world, they would be able to start Al. And I think it's something they're going to have to consider. Minutes restriction be damned, because they need a veteran stabilizing force. Like if you're going to play Draymond at the 4, I like it much better with Al than I do with Quentin Post at this point without Jimmy involved in the equation. So again, I think that's 21 different lineups for Kerr. I think he's used a different one in every game since Jimmy went down. He's going to have to look to continue to do that moving forward. But it just goes to show again the tough situation that the Warriors are in, because they find something with that lineup tonight, and guess what? Tomorrow it can't be the same lineup because Horford's going to be out and Melton's not going to be playing. So it is going to be interesting to see what they do. Do you give Steph the night off? Do you give Draymond? Do you give Draymond the night off? I don't think I would, because they didn't play a lot of minutes tonight. But I do think that's going to be a conversation. And I do like Al in the starting lineup, but that's been something that's basically been, you write that off because of where the Warriors are at with the minutes restriction. And maybe if you could do it with Al, you need to do it with Melton at some point moving forward here. I didn't think we would win until the final 4 minutes. Me of little faith. I thought with about 8 minutes to go, they were going to win. That's when I put it in the refrigerator and I stopped taking notes. And started texting Kyle like, all right, let's get this shit on the road. Let's get this show on the road so we can start it right basically at halftime of the football game and get our hour in and get on into the evening and let everybody watch the remainder of the game. But yeah, no, it was you just and I also had the thought like, well, damn, if they can't win this game, start of the fourth quarter, it's like if they somehow lose this game, just it's cooked. And we've seen the Warriors obviously blow a lot of leads. All right, let's roll through here. Clem, Steph looks frustrated. Let's make a good deal. To me, every time you see Steph looking dejected, frustrated, confused, perplexed, angry, pick your emotion. Every time you see it, to me, that's it. That is Steph saying it's like AJ Brown on the freaking treadmill, man. Like it's like he is saying, make a freaking move. Make a move. And the Warriors I think the Warriors are going to be aggressive. I do not think we're going to sit here. I don't think we're going to look up on February 6th or February 5th at noon or 1 or whatever it is. I don't think we're going to look up then and the Warriors will have done nothing. At a minimum, I think Kuminga is going to be moved at a minimum. But I'll tell you another thing. If you're a Warrior fan that you need to hope for, you better hope that Steph doesn't wind up hurt in the next week and a half. Because that is the only thing that I think would lead the Warriors to just bleep it. Like we're just gonna play out the string, and nobody wants the Minnesota series Kuminga to be the highlight of the final 2 months of the year. So that's the one thing. But he definitely looks frustrated. Good note there, Clem.
JD, what are you?
Let's go.
Just a quick thought on this.
Do it. Jump in, Kyle. This is your show too, brother.
What would you think about? And I only say this because this NBA draft class is really strong. What if they trade Kuminga and attach no first-round pick this year? So you're not getting anyone to really help you make a push of any meaning this year. And, but then you flip that player in the offseason or something. I don't know.
That's the DeRozan option, I think.
Yeah.
I
don't want DeRozan. I don't need to see that.
I don't want DeRozan either, but that's the DeRozan option. But again, the Warriors have to throw more into a DeRozan deal because DeRozan makes more than Kuminga. So the Warriors would have to throw a little in. Kuminga and 5 second-round picks. That's funny. That was the Wiseman deal, right? When they got GP2 back. It looked like, remember when it looked like they were going to get Sadiq Bey for a minute, and that made everybody happy. No, I think that's the DeRozan deal is like, it's not going to help. It's not really going to help you. And No Cap saying if we can get DeMar with Keon Ellis, I'm cool with that. Again, if you're the Warriors, you're going to have to put something in that deal. Robert, I like Sadiq Bey. When that was the move, when it was, hey, the Warriors are getting Sadiq Bey, I actually liked that. Like, I was like, damn, that's good. DeRozan can score, Gene. And again, if it comes down to hang on to Kuminga or get DeRozan, I'd get DeRozan and I'd keep the salary slot alive. But again, the Warriors have to throw more into that if they're gonna do it. And I want to look at the Kings salaries here. Kings salaries. Yeah, DeRozan's 24.5 because the Warriors are hard capped. So there's like a $2 million difference. So the Warriors would have to throw a low salary player, a TJD, somebody like that into the mix. If it's DeMar and Keon, that would then the Warriors would have to like put Buddy in there, but would Sack want Buddy for another? That's where it does get trickier than you think. Again, that's more of a last resort option for me. Diggum, the problem is there's no perfect trade. So what is the best trash trade? Yeah, you hope again. I don't think I don't want to make sure I'm reading this. Sadiq Bey would be. I liked Sadiq Bey when they got Sadiq Bey, and it looked like they were going to have Sadiq Bey, and then they ended up trading Sadiq Bey for Peyton. But yeah, DeRozan still can score a little bit. I've said it. There's no defense there. I could see he's an isolation player. He plays smaller. Like, you think of DeRozan as like a 3-4. He's really more of a 2. Like, he really is more of a 2 guard, like in terms of his size. He is durable. He doesn't miss time, even at 35, 36. But he had a great year last year, actually, for Sac. He has not had as good a year this year for Sacramento. Again, he doesn't really help you this year, but it is other than be a stopgap guy who can get a bucket for you. And then you would look to maybe move him in the offseason. And you keep that salary slot alive to be able to throw him into a big trade. If you look to make a big trade, whether that big trade is involving Jimmy Butler, involving somebody else, you shouldn't have to give up you're not going to have to give up a pick though to get DeRozan. And so I think that's, that would be the appeal, would be that you save your picks for the bigger move later, and you would still have the DeRozan salary slot to send somewhere if you look to make the move. So in essence, he helps you short term, but you're not really making the move because you think DeRozan is going to really help you all that much in terms of like what kind of team you can be. All right, we're going to go about another 3 minutes. Here it is, Dubs OT with JD and Kyle Harr. Warriors win 111-85. Really appreciate everybody who's been in the fold here for the last hour. And again, we'll be back with you tomorrow right around 9:00, Warriors and the Timberwolves, as the Warriors will wrap up the 2-game little baseball series in Minneapolis against the Timberwolves after getting a win. Surprise, surprise in the game today. Lacob should sacrifice the future of the Warriors without Curry to maximize the time he's still here. Completely agree with you, Elrod. Totally agree with that. Is there any chance we get the Greek Freak? He looked miserable last game on the sideline. Yeah, and he's going to be out for a little while. Any chance? I think there is a small chance. I do, but again, and he is the type of player that it is worth holding out for any kind of small chance. And I think that's why the Warriors have been reluctant maybe to send picks other places. Kuminga plus 3 first-round picks for Murphy. Jimmy plus 2 first-round picks for AD. That's a lot of first-round picks. I would not be giving up. I wouldn't be giving up 2 first-round picks
for AD. Yeah.
No, I'd be giving up. I'd be giving up none for AD. I mean, that is the reality. It's, hey, we're going to take AD off your hands. You're going to take Jimmy and tank, and you can use Jimmy to further yourself in the offseason or next year. I would do the 3 for Murphy, but again, I get it. And I know it's a difficult, I know the Giannis thing, people eye roll and laugh. We joke about it, Kyle, but I get the fact that you don't want to make a move that would take you out of that before you're sure that you can't figure out a way to swing it. So, what does that look like? We shall see, but I think Trey Murphy III is the youngest player with the most upside that the Warriors could get their hands on. And I would be willing to give up more for that. Now, is 3 plus Kuminga an overpay? Yeah, it probably is. But you know what? If you think that Trey Murphy is a future all-star, like multi-time all-star, then who cares? like go for it. And again, we're not talking about necessarily all unprotected picks either. I think protections would be maybe maybe 26 and 28 are unprotected. Maybe the other one is protected to a certain level. But that's, I would be more willing to go in on Trey Murphy because Trey Murphy's improved his game, I think, this year, and he's also only 25. All right, let's do like one or two more, and then we'll wrap it up because we have hit that. I was expecting back-to-back blowouts. Give them credit for competing. I mean, that's the one thing. Give them credit. That's 2 games in a row they've been competitive, and they're showing fight. And again, I think that fight, to kind of bring it back to the way we started, should be rewarded. And let's get our last one. Let's get our last one here before we wrap it up.
Oh, wait, hold up. Well, let me play a little sound there. There we go.
JD wants him to get Clay back so he can bust out the captain hat again. Yeah. Would not with Klay Thompson. Maybe there is a point down the line where you can, but I definitely would not at this point in time. All right, Kyle, final thoughts here from you. Appreciate you joining me here. And again, this is going to be kind of the format for the stream onlys. We may get a Greg Silver sighting at some point here between now and the end of the year. But good to get on. Good to talk about a win. Good to hear from the people. But some final thoughts, Kyle, as we head toward Monday, and we're back at it tomorrow.
Yeah, solid win. I mean, we may see the Warriors without Melton, Horford, possibly Steph, possibly Draymond, but we'll be here.
We will be here, and we'll be talking about the latest from Marcus Thompson. We'll be talking about the latest trade rumors. Not too many over the last 24 hours or so, but I'm sure there's going to be a few things that leak between now and 9 o'clock tomorrow. So for Kyle, I'm JD. Big thanks to everybody in the chat as well. We'll be back on the radio and on YouTube for the show coming up. Make sure you like and subscribe and get your notifications when we go live here on Dubs OT as well. And we appreciate you. So we'll talk to you tomorrow night. Dubs OT with JD, the sports leader.